Okay, now we're moving on to domain and range. Oh, you guys have been waiting for this, I know. Let's talk a little bit about domain and range. Let's just like draw a picture. I'm going to draw a picture, a very accurate picture of what I look like to you guys. Well, that's probably how I look to you guys. And then I got my receding hairline right here. Or preceding, I'm sure it will come back one day, right? It'll come back one day. So anyway, we're going to talk about domain and range. This is me. We're going to try to find the domain of me. The domain of Mr. Benson right here is how wide I am. So if you think of how wide, Mr. Benson, how much left and right space I fill in, this is my domain. How far left and right my body is, okay? And most of it's my head. But my range is how tall I am. Think of how tall I am right here to here. That is my range. That's how high a basketball hoop could be if I could dunk on it, because I have no vertical whatsoever. That's my range. So we're going to use the same idea over here, but they got this technical definition. Here's the definition the book gives us. The domain of a function is the set of all possible x values. How wide you are. All your x values are the left to right, right? X is left to right. The range the range of a function is the set of all possible y values. How tall you are, right? The y values are up to down. This is your y-axis, how tall you are. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that crazy definition right there, and we're going to find the domain of this graph right here. We're going to find the domain of this graph, the range of it as well. And then we're going to do that with these data sets that we already kind of used before. Find the domain and range for those data sets. So let's start with this one. The domain for this one, remember, is the domain is all the x values. So really, what's this x value right here? This x value is -4, so our domain, this is the set notation we're going to use. We're going to put -4 for that. We got -1 is in our domain. We have 2 is in our domain. And we got 5, that's also in our domain. So that's our domain for this function. Now our range, I'm going to do that one in red, is how high these dots are. So this dot, it goes up to 4, so our domain has a height of 4. I'm going to try to put it in order from least to greatest. So the least one is -2. Let's start with this one right here. So we got -2, comma, 0 for this one. Has a height of 0 right there. 0, comma, height of 2 right there. 2, comma, and a height of 4 right there. 4. And then I'm making my curly brackets that I always struggle to make. So that's the domain and range for that function right there. Now, that's when a function is a bunch of dots, right? It gets a little bit different when we have this line right here. So we got to use a different little type of set notation or type of notation to talk about this. A range, or let's talk about domain first. The domain is all the left and the right, okay? Well, this function right here doesn't go any further left that way. It does not, right? It starts right here, and then it starts going this way forever and ever. So our domain starts at -3, right? That's where we start, and it goes this way till when? It never stops. It goes that way for infinity. So how do we write that? You write the domain like this: bracket, because it gets to -3, comma, infinity, sideways 8. And that's the domain from this, from -3 to infinity. Now, the range is the up and down, right? So this goes up. What's the highest point on this graph right here? The highest point is actually right here, and the highest point is at 2, right there. So it goes as high as 2 and as low as, how far low does this go? How low does it go? -infinity. It goes to -infinity down there. So you write this like this. Whenever you put infinity, you put a parenthesis like this. You put -infinity, comma, and then how high does it go? 2. 2. And then since it gets there, because this is in an open circle, right? It's a closed circle, so it gets there, you close it off with a bracket. And there's the domain and range for this function right there. Okay. Got a couple other things I want to show you. Let's find the domain and range for this number set. These are pretty easy. These are just like this problem up here, except the points are given to you. So the domain for this function right here is 9, 8, and 7. We'll put them in order because it's nice to put things in order, right? So we got 7, 8, comma 9. And then the range is -1, -2, and -3. We'll put that in order too. Now you might want to put -1 first, but that's not the smallest one. You want to put -3, comma -2, comma -1. I can never get those brackets right. Oh, I gotta practice these for you guys. And then let's take a look at this one. Let's find the domain of this. We'll look at all the x values. The x values are the domain. Domain. So 1, 2, and 3 in order from least to greatest. And then the range is the 5, the 5, and the 5. Oh, that's easy. What do you think? Do you think you have to put it 3 times because it's there 3 times? What a waste if we had to. Nope, you only have to put it there once. So you just go like this. 5. Done. So that's how you find the domain and range for not only like sets of points, but for graphs that are just like step functions like this, little dot graphs, or even line graphs like that. Take this information and use it wisely, everyone. Use it wisely.